Alright, y'all boys, we back with another Solo Leveling Arise video, and today we're going to be going over some of the leaks that Alpha Leaker had posted up on his Twitter, so, be sure to follow him, because obviously he does provide a lot of information for the community, but, without further ado, let's actually get right into what we're going to talk about, which is basically how she functions, how she's going to play, all that good stuff. He does put a disclaimer saying that it is subject to change, so not necessarily meaning that this is all 100% set in stone. But if I had to guess, I'd say it's roughly about 70 to 80% set in stone. So majority of this is going to be remaining the same. The only thing that's probably going to be different is more so the actual percentages and modifiers. So yeah, let's get right into it and then see what she can do. And we'll kind of discuss on whether you should actually pull for this character or not, right? So let's see what's going on here. So obviously we have the basic attack. So as we can see by the first line here, the first line actually going into the skills and stuff, she is going to be scaling off of HP. So this is going to be very important. Obviously start setting up your blessing pieces or your Sylph blessings as well if you are trying to run that. And to actually get this to function, or even like your aquamarine, whatever you got that you're actually trying to play her around with. I myself am going to be running full blessing because for me, there's just no reason not to use blessing. So that's what I'm going to be using. So yeah, core attack. Core attack is pretty standard. As we already know, this character is going to be more of a supportive character for mono win. So we're not going to really be focusing entirely on her own damage output, right? So let's just continue going on. So her core attack doesn't matter, or her basic attack. They're just going to be there. You'll do them whenever you need to. We have skill 1. So skill 1 is elemental, wind elemental damage. It applies health recovery effect upon use. Heals the entire team continuously for a percentage of Hansemi's maximum health per second duration. We don't know how long, right? So basically, her skill 1 is going to be heal. I won't find myself using it that much, depending on the circumstances, on whether it's a very fast animation or if it's very long. Like for example, Min has his first skill, and I believe it's his first skill, right? It's his first skill, and his first skill has a very long animation, so you kind of really have to dash cancel and all that good stuff just to get out of it. It's not really important. You mainly only use it when you're trying to rush out your QTE if you don't have your core attack. But I won't see myself using skill 1 too much unless it has something tied into her actual passive or her dupes, right? Now we have skill 2. So skill 2 is going to do damage, all that good stuff, wind, and then airborne upon hit. It's going to restore mana to wind attribute teammates upon use, and then continuously apply the zone effect while inside the protected zone. So in most cases, like, you're going to be wanting to use her on a mono wind team, of course, but she will have a secondary effect, which will also apply a zone effect, right? Not only just, restoring mana, the mana is just mainly for wind, which, if we're being realistic here, the biggest issues that Mirai or Huang are ever going to have is literally mana. Mirai, maybe not so much if you know what you're doing, right? But Huang, always constantly running out of mana. You just this is really going to be kind of a big buff to him, just because he just wastes a lot of mana because you're going to want to be using the concentration of power set on him. And that does increase your MP consumption, but it does increase his, like, straight off the bat, his damage output, and also increases cooldown reduction, right? So realistically, that's just going to be really nice for him. This skill 2 definitely is going to help him a ton, right? Now, will it make him top tier? Probably not, but definitely very nice. Just want to consider all factors on what she can support and buff, right? You'll still be able to recover mana, but obviously wind attribute characters will be recovering a lot more than normal because they'll recover mana, and then also, while in the zone effect, also will be recovering mana, and then it will also apply a shield based off of her maximum HP. So you're just going to want to try to put as much HP on as possible on this character. There's really nothing else to focus on this character, as we can see so far. Now the support skill. Okay, we're going to go past that. It's going to apply zone effect, and it's also going to remove harmful effects from the affected area. So the zone effect will recover mana and then also apply a shield, right? Doesn't seem that very much useful, if I'm gonna be honest. Now, I guess if you do come up against some certain kind of content that does require you to remove harmful zone effects, like area effects like poison and fire and all that stuff, right? Then I guess it won't be too bad. But realistically, I don't see myself using this too often just because it's just okay, right? Now, of course, that can change once we get to the next part where we talk about her passives and stuff, but realistically, just from a base perspective, from just looking at this, alone, it doesn't really seem that crazy of a support skill, considering this is more of a game where you kind of speed run and everything, and you just want to maximize as much damage. So being able to get more stats and damage increases is going to be more important than, you know, actual zones that give you shield and restore mana, right? Especially if you're using Sunji and Wu, right? Because this is the support skill. If you're using Sunji and Wu, you don't really need a mana recovery. Just make sure you're consistently attacking, right? And there won't be any issues. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the next one. So we have the ultimate. So the ultimate's probably going to be the main key point of her kit, like in terms of the skills, just because, I mean, Min is like that and so is Mirai, so we're going to see. Now, it inflicts damage, airborne, so it heals the entire team, and then it applies the continuation of life effect, which basically reduces damage received by, I'm assuming this is probably going to be like 25% at least, and then continuously heals the team for a percentage of her maximum health per second. Okay, so she just straight up just healing, right? So far, just a bunch of healing and a lot of mana recovery. Nothing crazy of the sort yet. We want to see if we have some damage increases like the other two support characters, Min and Mirai. So let's see if they have that in the kit. QTE, nothing crazy either. Removes harmful zones, nothing special, right? So now we're going to go on to the passives, and then I'm assuming all of these are going to be referring to dupes as well, right? So you have passive 1, which is the base, right? And then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is going to be like the actual dupes. I really don't know why they always have the layout like this. It's very confusing to people, but let's just talk about it. So basically, when using Sharp Grasp, Field of Fortune, or Leaf of Life, so those are her 2 skills and her ult, it will apply the breath buff to teammates, and then reactivation time we don't know, and then it increases normal skill damage by a percentage, and it increases normal skill damage for wind attribute teammates by an additional percentage. So overall, she's going to be very nice to, we don't know what the percentage is, but just based off of just thinking about it, like in a broad perspective about like what she can buff between characters and stuff like that in the game, that's going to be very nice, because obviously we don't have a character that really buffs skill damage. If we're going to be real here, the wind characters really focus on their skills more than anything. So for example, if you're using Huang, his skills are his most impactful damage, like overall in his entire kit. His ult is nice, right? And his dupes do contribute to it, but realistically, you're going to be having more damage from his second skill, his E, more than anything. So overall, that's going to be really nice for him, increasing his skill damage as well. It's going to be very nice for Mirai, because Mirai, in her case, her ult doesn't matter too much. It's really more of a stimulant, which transforms her, and then you will do your actual damage output from there on out, right? Now, of course, in the future, if we do get characters that are more focused on normal attacks rather than skill damage, she might not be the best to pair up with them. But we'll continue and see what else they got in store for us aside from her actual passive. Now we have passive 2, applies the sharp breath effect to teammates who use ultimate skills. It increases crit hit rate, crit hit damage, and recovers a percentage of the power dodge. So overall, if you do go for her, I would say you would want to have at least 1 dupe in her, right? If you are aiming for her, right? If you're like a free-to-play player, you want to have at least 1 dupe in her. But we'll talk about that near the end of the video after we kind of discuss what the rest of her kit, right? I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Now, her second dupe is going to be increased health percent. Don't know how much. It's probably going to be like, what, something similar to like the other characters. I think they get like 10% or something like that, 15% HP. We're going to get her third dupe. Her third dupe is if health drops below 1 inside the Field of Fortune zone, applies the immortality effect for a certain amount of seconds, and then upon the end of immortality, addition heals for a percentage of Hansemi's maximum HP. This effect can only activate once per battle. So basically, it's a safety net for your team. You basically can survive 1 hit, right? So now with Hansemi, you can probably just stand in Vulcan's like ultimate attack where he just like slams his hammer or club onto the actual field and destroy everything. You probably live that now if you put Field of Fortune up, right? So we'll see what kind of wonky things we can get going utilizing this, right? Next up, we have her 4th dupe, and her 4th dupe increases the team's wind attribute damage by a percentage. This is going to be very, very, very good. Even if it's only 8%, it's really good because it's the entire wind team. This is going to always be perma up as long as she's in the team. This is good. Now we have her final dupe, which her final dupe is upon tag out or using Leaf of Life. So basically when you swap into your next character, which, I mean, you should be doing as she is the support character. You're not going to keep her on the field for too long. You're just going to use her skills and then get her out. Applies the Bond of Nature effect to teammates, and then what the Bond of Nature does is it increases attack power by a percentage, and then it increases wind attribute damage by a percentage. Now, it's very nice. The only thing I don't like about this is the fact that it increases attack power. So I'm assuming attack power is referring to just attack percent. I could be mistaken on this, but if so, that kind of diminishes the value for if you're trying to use it for Huang Dongsun, right? Now, of course, I know a lot of people aren't going to be playing Huang Dongsun, but you know, I'm trying to grab every single piece of character that I can really apply this character to and see how they would function, right? And this is going to be very nice because this can, if it increases attack power, depending on what the percentage is, it could be very nice for like everybody in the game in general, right? If you just need extra stats. Now, it also increases wind attribute damage, like I mentioned earlier, which is also going to boost them even further. So for a character like Mirai, she scales off of attack and also is a wind character. So basically, this is going to be buffing her to like as much as she can possibly go with that character, of course. This is very nice, very strong. We just need to see what the percentages look like, but I don't think you could really fuck this up because even if it's just 10% for both, or even less than 10% for both, it is still very strong. Every little bit of stat counts, especially if you're competitive, right? Now for her weapon is going to be very important as well. And what I mean by important is not by what it does, but because usually most of the weapons that are created for the characters are exclusive to them and are very important on how they function. You would naturally assume that, you know, you would need it, right? So it increases health by a percentage, right? So increasing her health obviously increases the amount she can heal and all that good stuff and how big the shield is. When Hansemi's skill hits a target, increases the damage they receive by a percentage for a certain amount of seconds. So overall, this is going to be like you're going to want to have this maxed because let's say it increases the damage that they receive by 3% on just having the weapon, right? But it increases by 3% every time you get another dupe in it, right? It's going to be like, let's just say it was like 15% by the end of it, right? This is going to be very powerful overall. Like, now of course it probably won't be as strong as Min's because Min's just, as soon as you ult, your whole team gets that damage dealt increase for I think 15 seconds or 20 seconds. I could be mistaken, just correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but we'll see. We just need to see how long the duration for and what the percentage is, but I don't think they could really mess this up. Even if it was just 1% and then you max it would be 5%, it's still very nice just because it's when her skill hits a target, so you can constantly refresh the duration of it, right? Because it's any skill. Depending on the duration, you could probably have 100% uptime just like as you do with a lot of the other characters if you're quick enough with your rotations. Overall, pretty good. Now, let's get to the actual consensus with the, you know, overall what we were talking about and why we actually talked about her kit is, should you summon for Hansemi? There's a couple of things to actually factor in when you need to decide if you're going to be pulling for this character or not. One is if you pulled for Mirai. If you did not pull for Mirai, you probably don't need to rush to get this character because even though she does provide stats for a lot of characters, not only wind characters, if you, most likely most players, at least 90% of players have Mirai, and she can provide those substantial amount of stats that you would need at this current time. So realistically, I would only say go for Hansemi if you do have Mirai or if you have Huang, if you want to capitalize on those characters. If not, you don't need to get her right now because there is no current content that you need her for at the moment, right? So you can literally wait until she is added into the standard banner and then pull her from there. That way you don't have to waste your limited tickets and you can save them for a future character that might be more important that you would need at that specific time. For example, right after Hansemi, we're going to get Gogun He. Now, obviously I'm going to be doing a video on him and talking about him as well, but the point is, after that, we're going to be getting Baron sometime around in, I believe, September, right? And the thing with that is, there's probably going to be a new character that's also going to come when Baron releases, and it's probably going to be a character that's going to be focused on that specific type, like the advantage versus Baron, which is going to make that character have overall more value than most of the characters that are releasing at the current time, right? So what I'm saying is, unless Baron is weak to win, which obviously I'm not 100% sure yet, obviously there's no actual direct confirmation, you won't need her. And even then, if he is weak to wind, by the time Baron actually releases, she will already be in the standard banner and you can just pull her from there. So as I said, she's probably not a must summon at this current time unless you really use your wind characters and your wind character is your main carry and you don't have Alicia or something like that of the sort, right? Then you would actually pull for this character because you want to, you know, buff up Mirai. Now here are your other options if you want to actually pull for Hansemi. if you like the character. If you like the character, I'm not going to stop you. Just pull the character. You like him, use him, right? I did that with Huang. I maxed him to 10. That's because I enjoy using the character. Simple as that, right? That's really all you have to focus on. If you like the character or if you need the character. And right now, we don't need the character. So when we do, you can still pull her from the standard banner when she eventually gets added into it, right? You don't have to get her right now at this moment. Now, for those who do plan to pull, and no matter what, I would say at least aim for advancement 1, right? Because her first dupe applies Sharp Breath, and Sharp Breath does give you crit hit rate, crit hit damage, and recovers power gauge, which allows you to spam more of her ult, right? And obviously your teammates ult as well, right? Because it's for like, it's literally to teammates who use ultimate skills, right? It's simple as that. It's just really nice. It's good for Huang, it's good for Mirai, it's good for anybody, realistically. So just, you know, keep that in mind. Of course, if you're going to go a little bit further, like, you don't really need the second dupe. It's not that important. Like, her heals are nice, but you're not really ever focusing heals in this game. And then obviously the next one, which would be her third dupe, is going to be very nice. Like, at that point, if you go anything past her first dupe, you might as well just fully max her, right? Because once you get to the third dupe, it's like, well, what's one more gonna hurt, right? This one's really nice. If you already got that one, you might as well just go to the final one. You know what I'm saying? So I would say just advancement 1 is the nice stop point, to be honest, because she is just a support character. That's if you're free to play. If you're like a Dolphin, bro, just max her, bro. The Dolphin, like, it shouldn't be that difficult considering the amount of kind of like value packs they give us. And if you're a whale, you're probably not even watching this video because you're just gonna whale it anyways, right? So basically, that's if you should summon for Hansemi. I really don't think you should, just because you don't need her at the moment. But if you're gonna like compete competitively for like guild stuff and like that, then just go ahead and pull her. If you like her, pull her. Simple as that. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.